Hi guys, so this is your first math video that I have assigned for you to do on your own at home. So the standard we are going to be talking about today is Standard 2, Order of Operations. So please go ahead and title your notes right now, Standard 2, Order of Operations. The first thing we are going to be talking about with Order of Operations is PEMDAS. You might have heard of this in a previous math class, so in your algebra class that you had last year or in years past. So we're going to go through and we're going to define what each letter means in this acronym. So the P stands for parentheses. The E stands for exponents, and you want to make sure that you are writing this down with me in your notes. So whatever I'm writing on here, you guys should also be writing. M stands for multiplication. D is for division. A for addition. And S for subtraction. So some other things that people might have called this to remember it would be, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. There are a lot of ways to try and remember this for the order of operations because it is so important. So parentheses is obviously going to be the first thing that we look for in a problem. And so you'll see a number or a variable with parentheses around it, and you want to make sure that you complete everything in there before moving on. The next thing you're going to look for are exponents. So you may have a number such as like 6 to the second power. And so the 2 right here, that is your exponent. The next thing you are going to do is multiplication or division. So I know it looks like you have to do multiplication first, then division, but actually you are going to move left to right in your problem when completing multiplication and division. So that's really important to remember because otherwise it could change our answers. And then the last part is addition and subtraction. And again, those are grouped together, and we are going to complete those moving left to right through our problem. All right, so the main thing I want you to take away from that slide is that when you complete multiplication or division, to move left to right. And then when you complete addition or subtraction, you are also going to move from left to right, completing it. And that'll be really important to remember when we get to our example problems. So that is what we are going to start on next. So we are going to move on to example 1 in your notes. So example 1 says 6 divided by 2 in parentheses 1 plus 2. So we are first going to move through PEMDAS. So I want you to go ahead in your notes and write example 1 on your paper, and then to the right of it, go ahead and write PEMDAS, just like I have written out on my screen. I want you to write that out because then we can go through, and after we complete each thing, we can just check it off. So it helps us keep our work nice and organized. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing we're going to do are parentheses. So if we look at our problem, we do have parentheses right here, and inside of that we have 1 plus 2. So we're going to complete 1 plus 2 is 3, and we're going to bring everything else down in our problem. So we're going to bring down the 6 and our division symbol and the 2. Okay, so we completed the parentheses, and now we're looking for exponents. I don't see any exponents in our problem, so we can just go ahead and check that off. And we're now down to the part where we have multiplication and division. So remember, those are grouped together, And hopefully you guys are staying with me. You have to move left to right. So in our problem, we have 6 divided by 2 times 3. So these parentheses around the 3, that's telling us that we have to multiply. So in order to move left to right, we are going to first complete 6 divided by 2. And when we do that, we type it into our calculator and we come up with 3. And then we have the 3 to bring down from our problem. And we're left with multiplication. So 3 times 3, and that is going to give us our final answer of 9. So take a moment, make sure you have that all written down in your notes. And you might be looking like, oh, Miss Farmer, we didn't do addition or subtraction. And that's okay. We also didn't have exponents in our problem either. So you won't always have all of these things in every problem, but this is the order that you will work your problem out in. All right, go ahead and write down example 2. We have 16 minus 8 divided by 2 to the second power plus 14. And go ahead and make sure you're writing PEMDAS off to the side to check it off as we work through. So the first thing we're going to look for are parentheses. And when I scan through my problem, I don't see any parentheses. So we're just going to check that off. The next thing I'm looking for are exponents. And when I look through, we do have an exponent right here on 2. So we have 2 to the second power. When we complete 2 to the second power, some of you might already remember this from our first standard, but 2 to the second power is the same as 2 times 2. And if you're using your calculator, you can go ahead and you can type this in by pressing 2 and then the caret key, so this little arrow, and then the number 2 again, and it'll give you your answer. So 2 to the second power, hopefully on your calculator, if you tried it at home, you got 4 as your answer. And now it's time to go ahead and bring down the rest of our problem. So we keep our work all neat and organized. So 6 minus 8 divided by 4 plus 14. So all we did there is we just brought the rest of our problem down. Okay, so now since we checked off exponents, we're going to be looking for multiplication or division. So let's see if we have any of that. And we do. We have division right here. So we need to complete 8 divided by 4. And when you type that into your calculator, or if you know off the top of your head, 8 divided by 4 will give us 2. And we're going to bring down the rest of our problem to keep our work organized. And now we can check off multiplication or division because we completed that. We only had division in our problem. And we're left with addition and subtraction. And so we actually have both of those in our problem. So our problem reads from left to right, 16 minus 2 plus 14. And so you guys all know this. I know you know this. We have to complete addition or subtraction, moving left to right in our problem. So even though in PEMDAS the addition looks like it comes first, we actually move left to right. So let's go ahead and get started. So 16 minus 2 gives us 14. We're going to bring down our addition symbol and our other 14. And we're going to finish up our problem by completing 14 plus 14. You type it into your calculator, beep boop, and you will come up with 28. So that is the final answer to example 2. So congratulations, you're almost through our notes. You have 2 examples in it so far, and we have 1 more example left to get through. All right, so example 3, 25 minus 15 divided by 3. So let's go ahead, go through PEMDAS just like we've been doing, and the more you'll do this, you'll just do it right out of habit, right at the beginning. So we're going to look and see if we have any parentheses, and we do not. So we're just going to check it off because we don't have to do it. We're going to look for exponents, and we can check that off because we don't have any exponents. And now we're on to multiplication or division. We do have division. We have 15 divided by 3. And when we use our calculator, type in 15 divided by 3, beep boop, and it gives us 5. We're going to bring down the rest of our problem. So 25 minus 5. And we can check off multiplication, division. We did that. And now we're to the last part, addition or subtraction. And we just have subtraction. So we are going to type in the last thing to our calculator, 25 minus 5. And when we do that, we come up with the answer of 20. So that is your final answer. You made it through all of your example problems. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to the very last thing for you to complete for your homework. So now that we move through the notes, I have 2 problems that I want to challenge you to try on your own. So these are your you try problems. Go ahead and label this section you try in your notes and copy down problems 1 and 2. Go ahead and pause the video now because we are going to, when you are done with your problems, you can press play again and then I will walk you through how to do each problem. So go ahead and pause the video now. Press play when you're done. Okay, so if you are on this page, you completed your problems and you're ready to go through them and check your answers with me. So we're going to work through PEMDAS. All right, on the first problem, we're going to do our parentheses first, 4 minus 2. And when we do that, we come up with 2. Bring down the rest of our problem. Now we need to complete our multiplication before addition. So 2 times 3, and that's going to give us 6. Bring down the rest of our work. And we are left with our final step of 2 plus 6, and that gives us 8. So circle that as your final answer for problem number 1. For problem number 2, we do not have any parentheses, but we do have an exponent. So 4 to the second power, that gives us 16. Bring down the rest of our problem, so the minus 6 plus 10. And now we need to move and work from left to right because we have both addition and subtraction left in our problem. So 16 minus 6 is 10. Then we're going to bring down our plus 10, and our final answer is going to be 20. All right, so those are the answers to your you try problems. Go ahead and bring your notes with you tomorrow to class, and I will check them off the first thing when you walk in the door. See you tomorrow.